Mouse. So welcome back to Faith From Friday. For the first case of this video, we are going back to Philadelphia. This case, many people may not exactly know about it. If you are from the Philadelphia area, maybe you have heard about it, but it's okay if you didn't because it did happen during the Great Depression era. Of course, I got this case inspired from the show Deadly Women. Of course, sources are all down below, like always. So if you haven't heard this case or you relate to anybody involved in the case, definitely let me know. And so with that being said, I'm going to get what's publicly known. I'm going to quit my rambling and let's go get started. So we're going to start with Rose because Rose has a pretty big part in our story that happens today. And there's also a lot of names, so just a heads up on that. Rose was said to be born sometime in 1896. We don't have an exact date on that. Her first husband apparently would be a man by the name of Antonio Barbadato, who apparently she divorced. And then her second husband would be a man by the name of Dominic Carina, which is where she gets the last name Carina, because if you search her up, she's known as like Rose Carina. Dominic apparently dies on September 26, 1931. She gets remarried for a third time to a guy by the name of Antonio Lessi. He apparently dies in 1933. And her fourth husband, sources are mixing between him dying between 1934 and 1936. So then at some point, it doesn't say when, but apparently Rose will meet a brothers Paul and Herman Petrillo, both Italian immigrants. And so Paul apparently was born on January 16th, 1892. Herman was born November 6th, 1893. And so apparently they both were working in counterfeiting and arson. They apparently, in the public eye, would have a legitimate business of lotions and selling potions. But also, if you need some poison on the side, we also got that too. So then also in this group, you have a man by the name of Morris Bowler, who apparently was born on January 3rd, 1886, in Russia. He apparently would start university, so college essentially, when he's 9 and graduates when he's 12, so very intelligent. He apparently finds out about the Kabbalah at one point and starts studying with a sorceress for like 5 years. And this starts apparently in 1905. He moves to the United States in 1911, and apparently he moves to New York once he lands in the United States. And he stays there in New York until 1931, when you have the Great Depression going on. And then he moves to Pennsylvania with his family, pretending to be a faith healer, and adding like doctor in front of his name. So in the business, as we know of, apparently starts in like 1932. Their main target apparently was women who were going through troubled marriages, and they basically told them that your husband is either going to fall in love with you again or they're going to die. But at the opportunity that they die, we got life insurance. Now, obviously, in every single situation, the husband's going to die, but we can't just say straight up, oh yeah, your husband's going to die if you take this. So the first known confirmed victim that we have of the group apparently is a man only known by the name Anthony K. And apparently he was a known alcoholic. So then apparently after giving him the poison, his wife would apparently leave him by an open window where apparently he would die of a cold. So I guess that way they couldn't exactly detect the poison and just say he died of a cold. So then apparently a woman by the name of Mia Curvado, she joins the group apparently. And by this point, she had already killed apparently her first husband, Giuseppe, got $2K out of his death. Common law husband, Charles, got $8K from his death. And apparently Charles' son, so I guess her stepson, otherwise I would have said her son, and she got $7K from his death. Oh, and if I didn't mention this before with the life insurance, obviously the men will have to sign their names on this life insurance as you would nowadays. But most of them didn't know how to read, they really didn't, or they were under the influence of like presumably alcohol when they were signing it, so they did not know what they were signing, essentially. And so in June of 1938, apparently there was a man by the name of George Meyer who apparently had just got out of prison and asked Herman if he can borrow like $25 from him. And so Herman was like, listen, instead of borrowing $25, I will give you $600 if you go kill this man, but you basically have to like push him off a high building. Because apparently life insurances, they paid more if you suffered a violent death. So then apparently George was like, oh, I can't do that because the police are watching me because, mind you, I just got out of jail. So then I guess Herman was like, okay, whatever. So then George apparently goes to police, gives them like, well, this is what this man offered me to kill somebody. And the police apparently turn him away. George then apparently goes to the FBI and is like, hey, you need to come get this man. How about we set him up? So then they get an undercover person by the name of Stanley. So then on August 1st, apparently they meet up, Stanley and George actually meet up with Herman apparently in a restaurant. Then apparently, I guess after that meeting, they then proceed to go to a car. Stanley apparently was pretending to be an inmate that recently had gone out for murder. George was trying to convince Herman to basically give him some money so that way they can go like buy a car, or we can go commit like the murder against Ferdinand, the guy that he's trying to have killed. And Herman's just like, why can't you just steal a car instead of having to go buy one? Because it's less work and it's cheaper. So then apparently Stanley asks If you know anybody that does like counterfeit money, because like I said in the beginning, Herman was over counterfeiting. So then Herman apparently shows like a fake $5 bill, and then Stanley offers to buy. Stanley basically offers $200 in exchange. I need all fake five. So then Herman says, okay, cool, I can do that, but it's gonna take me about 2 weeks to get everything ready. So give some time. So then 2 weeks later, they hear nothing from Herman. Stanley says, go find your friend, find out where he's at. Don't hear anything from him. He apparently goes to Ferdinand's house. Ferdinand's wife, Stella, apparently opens the door. Ferdinand apparently is bedridden at this point. He goes back and tells Stanley. Stanley apparently goes and gets some other agents, and they all pretend to be life insurance agents to ask him like some questions. And then apparently, while they're over there trying to ask some questions, they notice that he literally can't even like move or speak, and his eyes are obviously dilated. So it's also assumed that Herman obviously did something to him. So then, if Herman apparently actually calls George and is like, "Hey, that $200 that your friend asked for, I got that ready." So then he's like, "Okay, cool." So then they meet up at a bus stop. And then George tries to pretend that he's still interested in trying to kill Ferdinand, like the original deal was supposed to go down. Herman says, you don't need to worry about that because Ferdinand's already in the hospital, so it's working. So then at that point, Herman's been arrested by agents that were like secretly hiding nearby, but they also put handcuffs on Stanley and George, basically trying to make it seem like they were also guilty, even though they're obviously in on it. So then on October 27th, Ferdinand would officially die. Herman also gets charged with his murder because you know who else would have done it. Apparently all the widows that Herman apparently kept record of that he was helping like poison, all of them would apparently get 14 years each. Paul and Herman, they essentially got death, so I guess that showed how heavy their involvement was. Morris Bobler and Karina Favillo, I know I probably pronounced that wrong, they both got life in exchange for helping, basically testifying against their co-defendants in order to help the prosecution. Maria, she got life. Cesare Valitelli, Dora Sherman, Gaetano Cianozzi, Grace Giovannetti, and Samuel Serino were all sentenced to 25 years. Now, I know I did not mention them at all in a case earlier, but apparently they were all involved at some point, so they've been sentenced. So like I said, Paul and Herman, they've been sentenced to death. Paul gets executed on May 31st, 1941, and then Herman actually gets executed that same year, but on October 20th. Karina apparently died on January 21st, 1952. Morris died on February 9th, 1954. And then Rose, and all this, surprisingly, was actually legally acquitted and was just outlived her life. Now, obviously, she also would be dead by this point, but she pretty much just got to live her life pretty much scot-free out of everybody. So then, like I said, yeah, that's the case of the Philadelphia poison ring. So like I said, if you want something new, definitely let me know. I know this definitely was a handful. Like I said, big shout out to Deadly Women because I found out about this case through them. And so with that being said, if you have any more, I guess, like poison cases I should know about, definitely let me know. And so I cover fatal females 2 times a week. Subscribe for fatal females. I'll see you guys next one. Bye. And when you get back at me, and when you get